Mic check, and check in, make sure we're good. Shout out to Dirty in the building. Well, yeah, you gotta take off out and had to open the bar up real quick. Took a little longer than I thought it was. I'm trying to wait on Bree and Rashawn, see if they gonna pull up. Shout out to Shags in the building. Me and Rashawn get chill out, relax. Everybody day going, what you cook up, man. Just nothing super important. Just about to continue this conversation that was being had. Like a tad high. All right, hold up. I'm on the phone. It took a little longer than I thought it was. I really wanted to get this in a little earlier today, but I was trying to have like an on location kind of deal. You know what I'm saying? I was out and about. Might have been doing the most, but it's all right. But what's going on, y'all? How y'all doing? I'm trying to wait on Bree and them. If they don't pull up, then I just probably do it later. Okay, we got some floor action. Hit the floor. What up, Nay? No, Derry, don't be a fly on the wall. Hell, I don't even believe in this shit, but you know what I'm saying? There's room for everybody in this conversation. I'm definitely on some other shit, but you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Inya in the building. What up? Give y'all yeah, I'm over on YouTube too. Hold on. Yeah, y'all a quick point of view. I'm out and about. So I'm out chilling. You know what I'm saying? Out in the park, hanging out. It was nice. That's kind of what took me a long time. I had to give me a spot with some shade and a good signal. So, well, yeah, man. If I could take that down. Yeah, we just we outside. We outside. I was trying to get some schedule of stuff together with Brand Rashawn. I hope they pull up. Hoping they pull up. If not, shit, we'll get this cracking another time. Cause I don't want to have a conversation without them. Cause they're the whole reason the conversation is a conversation. So what in the whiskey is going on? Yeah, like I said, just to continue, just a short continue. Actually watch that documentary that Bree was telling me about the Shroud of Turin with the imprint of Jesus' face and all that good shit on there. So I mean, it definitely didn't help it definitely didn't help their cause though. So I'm gonna give them a few minutes. I say we go about 30 minutes. They pull up, they don't. So just to let y'all know, we are waiting on Bree and Rashawn. I know they got stuff going on. It is the middle of the day. Rashawn has probably took a nap because he's a night owl. And Bree probably chasing kids around. Right, tell them niggas come on. I got a friend stay on the south side by White Sox in Chinatown. Oh yeah, around 35th. Right off the E-way. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, that's about right. About 15 minutes from downtown. See, I'm outside. I'm outside on my phone, so what I'm gonna try to do is play some audio.
Power on.
From
the Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
Some audio from the video that I was listening to, kind of give y'all an idea of
the Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We definitely had a schedule mix up because Bree said an hour, and then I was like, all right, cool. And I thought I was gonna be able to get done what I need to get done in an hour, so that didn't happen. Say what questions that I shit is this shit real? My main question is why is this real? I don't even it ain't even about if it's real. Because at this point you can't really have the discussion on whether these people are real or existed or not. So you just gotta take it like, why is this real? And some of the proof, like this Shroud, really don't be helping niggas' case. Boo. That's about to cut out. Well, that sucks. That didn't charge all the way. Kind of needed that to charge, but okay. But let me try to let me try to pull it up.
One of the key attributes of a body that has all of the markings that fit with the gospel. And what if it is a picture of Jesus?
Yeah, I get that. I get the
an image of the front and
I get the coping thing, right? Because I'm with that. Like that's where I'm never gonna try to be that dude to I'm never gonna try to be that dude to be like you shouldn't believe in what you need to believe in. Cause shit, I know what I go through in this world, goddammit. And this my coping mechanism right here. Everybody don't smoke. The feeling this give me is real, but the results, like the coping, ain't real. You know what I'm saying? I can smoke as much weed as I want. That's still not going to change change reality, right? I can smoke 100 blunts a day, still not going to change reality. You can pray a gazillion times a day, it's still not going to change your reality. Without what? Without something to cope with, or without the idea of the Bible and Jesus? Hell yeah, I got a firm belief in weed. Goddamn it, that's a good ass way to look at it too. People believe weed got a lot of properties to it that they may or may not have. Oh, I hate that my hat looks so crooked right now. I don't want to bend the brim and straighten it out. Like people believe weed got a lot of properties that it probably don't have. You know what I'm saying? A lot of it be like probably a placebo, or it's doing the other thing, right? So I'm smoking. What's the process of smoking? Inhale, exhale. I can do that same exercise without weed and it'll have the same calming results. People do that shit all the time. Deep breath in, hold it, let it out. People do the same physical process and it damn near results in the same thing. My argument is that people tell you that you need weed for you to be able to breathe in and out and everything be okay. That's where I don't agree. I don't know if that analogy made sense. I don't know if that analogy made sense or not. But yeah, I know what I'm talking about. Got meetings be back later. Cool. I know this is the middle of the day. We was really trying to plan this around 10 o'clock central. I didn't know Bree was actually gonna be an hour. I need to start taking her time seriously. But like I said, I had to do some stuff that went into the time as well. So but I'm pretty sure one of them will wake up or pop up something in a little bit. We'll kick it for about 30, 45 minutes, see what happens. But I'm not gonna go into the video or all that until they show up. Well, the altered mindset weed produces put the brain in a state that where it's more receptive to alternative practices of coping and other problem solving and creative. Right. Right. It puts the mind in a mind state of being receptive. And that's kind of what I mean by having a belief structure and a belief system. Because I always put you in mind you can change your perception for the moment. Yeah, for the moment. Shit, hell yeah. Shit, this week got me feeling good right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm chilling, talking to y'all. But when I turn this motherfucker live off, goddamn it, I'm still gonna have some real ass issues. I'm still gonna have some real life issues that didn't change. So, but yeah, there was some thing, and nothing egregious. Like I said, I only had these conversations for the sake of. I mean, all right. Let me not say that because that probably ain't gonna be 100% true either. I had these conversations in good faith, right? I don't have these conversations to make anybody disbelieve what they want to believe. We grown as hell. Like we grown as fuck. Nigga, I ain't finna be able to tell you shit. You ain't probably ain't finna be able to tell me shit. But I don't know. I kind of want us to. I kind of want us to be able to think outside of this because it was an interesting conversation having yesterday, like about why do black people need to be Christians or should black people need to be Christians? And I had a bigger question of should black folks believe in any of this shit? Should we be believing in any of this shit? This just feels like another story or another thing that then got black folks mindset clouded on like the goal, which is just to kind of just fucking enjoy life, man. Well, now you're talking about dopamine, which is all about sensations. Right, I understand that there's woo-woo lady science, hotep science, and organized science. Yeah, yeah. And I get it, like everybody's practice is different, especially in 2024, man. Like people have personalized everything so much. You know what I'm saying? Even down to their religious needs and experience. That if there was a way to do it, it's still gonna get modified. Hunter Watson the builder. Hey, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. But I don't want to be on that because that's gonna start a whole nother thing. But I swear this all this I swear. Now if I had a belief structure, it's all a simulation. It's all a fucking simulation. Yeah, I'm on critically drink it and I'm on Twitch. I want to save the conversation just in case, folks want to watch it. I know Rashawn gonna be live later too. So he outside. Appreciate you. I know a lot of folks at work and this I'm saying I had the day off. and lean back. I'm skipping. I would say I'm outside, so shit, you know. I might not get the best signal. But we in this bitch. Yeah. But yeah, let me go back. But yeah, I'm with Watts though. it's definitely a simulation, good brother. Cause man, it's too many of us that done lived the same existence. That did a lot of the same shit all the time. So many things repeat. It's just in different versions. That is simulation. That's why I fucks with Norse paganism, because there is no church. Man, I'm a step further. I'm of the man that ain't really nothing. There ain't really nothing. And we kind of just running ourselves in circles about something that doesn't exist. And I would hate that for us, man. I would hate that for us. Some people believe in the Muffin Man, and that's okay if it helps them survive. Oh yeah, see what you believe in is one thing. Now you going into how you move and what you believe, and you got to understand how people move with the idea. A lot of people's belief system, especially with black folks, dictate how they move. I mean, something, yeah, something created this. But at this point in time, and right now here on Earth, it's irrelevant on who did. You know how long ago that was? You know how long ago that was? Now, we went from nothing to absolutely nothing. We went from nothing to me being able to sit here and talk to y'all through this little camera on my phone. We've come a long way. Long time ago. I could believe that too. All of it could be true. All of it could be true. See, the beauty about it is that I understand what we're doing. Now, I understand, but I kind of got an idea, right? Because I don't understand none of this shit. Because there should be no understanding of none of this. People, maybe that's really what get under my skin too. I know I'm just ranting at this point. I know I'm just ranting, and it's okay, y'all. It's what I guess this is what it's supposed to do. But all of it could be right. A long time ago. A long way, yet not far at all. I think the issue is the worship part. Jesus never told anyone to worship him. Okay. Now let's break down that comment, Anaya. Here's why I'm here. This is why I'm here, Anaya. This is exactly why I'm here. And this ain't to pick on you. This is just using you as an example. So I'm sorry I'm bringing you up to the front of the class. But it's just a comment, not you as a person. It's the saying that Jesus never told anyone to worship him. That just, that gets me. That gets me a lot. That's a really interesting, that's always been a really interesting stance. That's my biggest issue. That we exist here and people feel like within their 50 to 100 years of existence, they are able to gain an understanding of something that is unfathomably old. Because is why though? It's the confidence, it's the confidence and the belief that this person even existed to have a list of things that they would or wouldn't have said. And it's bigger than a fandom, right? Because people have an idea of kind of policing how characters talk in TV shows and all that other stuff, right? Like people liking Marvel isn't as impactful as people liking the Bible. Yet I feel like it's close to the same level. Now I can understand the significance in people seeing proof of these things, but here's the trick to it. I think that's what's fucking us up a lot. And if we wrong, what did we really miss out on? We missed out on this. If that's the best way to describe it, we missed out on this. See this stuff right here? See that? See this stuff right here? You see that this blue stuff right here? That's what we missing out on. That's what we missing out on. We're missing out on this. Like us existing. Imagine being a TV and having it as we're trying to turn existence into existential crisis. Imagine a TV just wondering why it's a TV. No, I'm saying we're too busy trying to figure out why we're here instead of just being here. I get the I get the wondering. Don't get me wrong. I get the wondering. I am a wonderer. I am a thinker. I like to explore the mind. Y'all see the type of shit that I done watched. I watched the multiverse shit. I'm I'm in love with all of that. The problem is I'm also of the mind that I know that nobody knows what the truth is up to a certain point. There are certain things that have been proven to fact with science or evidence or visual accounts that have been recorded and documented that match across the board, that are viable original copies. We got the actual shit. There's knowledge up to a point. But it's just interesting to see humans pretend to be engulfed within this place of sureness and certainty that any of this exists. When they rewrote the Bible, they put that Jesus is God shit in there to provide a visual representation of the God they reference. Christians were the only religion that didn't have that. So they made sure they did. Yeah. Most Christians don't know God. Who knows God then, Anaya? That's my question. Who does know it? Oh shit. No, it's people who definitely it's people who definitely do, but that's the answer. That would be my answer. Yet everybody speaks as if they do. No, nobody know him. But he real. No, nobody know him though. So it's really all just claims. I've had things happen to me that I can't explain. But not quite enough to warrant a belief of something so extravagant. I'm fucking buzz trying to get me. That's also the part about being outside people ain't ready for. Suki God. Make sure that sun ain't in y'all face. But no, what's say? No, they have a good no, they have an idea. How can we just start walking 40 years ago in your words? I know the creator, right. I know you gotta have they ain't got the right understanding and you gotta understand that this is that and this. I'm like, you gotta who? Don't nobody know. What's his address? And I guess I'm in a crazy position too, right? Because I don't ever want it to be a thing. I'm really not ready to see what it is, but I'm ready to see what's gonna be at the end of this whole thing. Maybe it is. Maybe everything that everybody says is true. Maybe it's all true. Maybe everybody claim is them is like sitting up in one big panel of people, just like all the deities across at one table. Like that would be cool. I'm with that. 30 minutes. All right. Let's see. Give Bree and them a few more minutes. Let's see. Ooh, I have my glass on the way I can see. The sun is out. It's a nice ass day out. I feel like I'm hiking. I got my little cup and shit. I ain't doing. I'm still in the hood. The Christian God I know allows us to suffer and yet claims to be almighty and knowing that the God I know. Yeah. Yeah. And I can't even I can't even see why we put so much stock in it as black people. Cause like dude said, we was the main ones getting the main ones getting the foo fops. Apparently. Apparently we're the main ones getting the cabangs around this bitch. It's all right. Make Twitch great again. All right, bro. Tato Chip. I'm up here. I am rocking out. And some oh man. Yeah, I was trying to just ramble. I just been up here kind of rambling. High, enjoying the motherfucking outdoors. This the part that open up your mind, right? Like, cause I know people say get outside, connect with nature. You know what I'm saying? It's nice to breathe oxygen instead of just like some condensed air being in the house. I mean, I'll be outside, but rarely do y'all see folks streaming. Well, I guess people be doing IRL streams. I was about to say you don't see people streaming outside. You see plenty of people streaming outside, dumbass. The Christian God, I know. Oh, okay, I read that already. Suki God is a perfect example. It's a learning experience. But I do think shouldn't be pushing. We should be pushing our beliefs on others, which is the main. And then condemn someone for not believing in what you do. Yeah. 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 And I guess YouTube is the best example of like in a microcosm of how it goes. Like there's very few of these conversations where people actually agree, right? And I guess me being disagreeable in this situation don't really help. But we also ain't making a backup plan, bro. And we also not getting the results from this either. Like, I'm not finna do the Roberto and say we are suffering. I ain't finna do that. Because there are happy people, there are happy black people on this earth. And whatever they believe in, they happy. And they good. So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that from how it's presented, with us supposed to be the ones that's favored, by who? By who? This is, I guess it just seems like, wow, you know what? Maybe it's the idea, since we are so down and
What you
so
want, Coop?
down and out. You said what?
What you want, Coop?
Shit, man. Up here rambling. I was a little
Yeah.
behind because I was trying to get like some live on location head ass shit. But I had to do something else. Yeah, I had to do something else that cut into that hour.
Oh, man.
So it didn't actually take me long to get set up and go live once. But I had some shit that I had some shit that actually came up, and I was like, "Fuck!" So yeah, I had to do that. But like once I finished that, like I got to this. So yeah, it's all right. It was early. It was impromptu. Hopefully, Bree somewhere in
cool. So I'm seeing the title, The Shroud of
background.
Truth. Is God, Jesus, and the Bible real? Well, the Bible's real. I've held several Bibles. I've held several of them. They're real. If you believe that I'm real, I've held several of them. The Bible's real. I've had them pressed. I've looked at a digital one. Absolutely real.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely real.
And you know what? Let's start off the conversation with an agreement. Yes, the Bible is real. I've held and looked through a couple of them myself. We can have that agreement. That's so nice. Look, see, you can have religious conversations.
Yes, sir.
And agree. See?
Yes, sir.
Nah, that's what I'm talking about. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all later. Thanks for watching. No.
Yeah. No, I get you.
But
now,
I'm
about to say, but what's your overall? I see the question on the stream. The Shroud of Truth is God, Jesus, and the Bible real? Now, even as a non-believer, like when you say God, what are you speaking of? Are you talking about the God that's represented in the Bible, or some sort of higher being?
I'm speaking more towards God as the God of the African American people.
Okay.
So that's the only one I'm familiar with. That's on.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That the what'd you say? The 80-something%? How many percentage you say was Christian?
79%.
Okay. So we take that 79%, we do some Steiner math, and we add 10 and 2/3 of the spirituality people, because they all kind of tie into it. But that what I'm saying is that formation is basically woven through the Black community, right? Mm-hmm. I guess this conversation is almost like an extension from yesterday.
Okay.
Right? To where Buddy was talking about why are Black folks Christians and all that good shit. Right? I think that's closer to where I'm at. with that.
Right,
You
let's
know what I'm
go.
saying? I'm trying to find like an even ground where it's backed up by somebody else kind of saying the same thing, right? I don't want to just be the dude over there. It's all fake, you know.
Yeah. I got you. Yeah.
Because don't nobody like that dude either. I can understand that dude being that dude too. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but it was it's that idea. So it's that idea of God, and then Jesus. Of course, I watched. I think I got to about 30 minutes of that documentary.
Shroud of Turin. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, I was gonna play it, but I ain't had my what's the name
You out and
that off.
about.
But it was yeah. My Bluetooth ain't loud enough. I mean, it died. It didn't charge all the way up like I wanted it to. But
Gotcha.
it was some interesting stuff in there. I didn't quite get to the end, so I don't know like the where they're at in the definitive conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
But it was it was pretty interesting.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But I have my concerns as well.
Okay. As
You
you
know what I'm
would.
saying? So
As
I
you
can
would.
understand a lot of the I don't know if you could pull it up.
Pull what up? The Shroud of Turin
I
thing?
don't know if you could pull it up or if you wanted to pull it up. Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
Because I really did want to go
can.
over that. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what I'm saying. I did my little homework, but was that what?
Okay.
I mean,
Turin,
if
let
you
me
don't want
see.
to, that's cool.
Yeah, because I ain't about to litigate the Shroud of Turin. It ain't my shroud. You know what I'm saying? It ain't my shroud. But I can
Sherry
pull it
say
up if
he
you
over
want
there
it.
alone on Twitch. That's her.
Which one? I sent you two, the BBC and the History Channel. Which one were you looking at?
No, that's cool. I can kind of go over. I can just kind of go over some of the. No, that's cool. I can kind of just go over some of the shit I was thinking, some of the points. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got to go through all of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm with that. So there was a lot of kind of far-fetched scenarios of why this shroud could exist, right? So for those who don't know, I'll give you what I know. The Shroud of Turin is supposed to be the death cloak, I guess, the death covering of one himself, the Lord Jesus Christ, right? And they were supposed to have discovered this shroud, and it has the imprint of his. Yeah, he got his print on there. You know what I'm saying? Which I know the light. I mean, hey, look, if that would be the
gray
proof,
sweat
I
shroud.
would.
The gray sweat shroud.
I would. Yep, the sweat shroud. Yep, the gray sweat shroud. That's what it is. But if that would be, I'm just saying, if I would, that would be enough proof for me right there. That would be enough proof.
You stupid.
I'm just saying, at this point, we desperate now.
Why would that be enough proof?
Because we have reached desperation levels, bro. We've been at this for thousands of years. We need some answers at this. It would be great to have some answers.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, like that's at the level of answers we need now, because it's not just a YouTube conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Let me try to get my signal together real quick.
All right, hold up. This might absolutely be trash. Let me see what they. Nope, just a dude talking. I need something different now.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. No. something different. Let me see. Oh, ooh, that's long. Let's see. We're about to find out. Let's see. Hold up. Give me a second. Let's see.
All right,
Bam.
can you hear me?
Yeah. Let's go.
I fucks with dude.
Let's see what he on.
While it might come as something of a surprise to some, for reasons we'll get into momentarily, historians, from atheist to agnostic to Jewish to Christian, pretty much all universally agree that the Jesus described in the New Testament did, in fact, exist, and even that it's extremely likely that, at minimum, a couple of key significant elements of his life as described in the New Testament also very likely did happen, which we'll get into at the tail end of this video. As archaeologist and historian Dr. Byron McCain of the Atlantic University of Florida states, I do not know, nor have I heard of, any trained historian or archaeologist who has doubts about his existence.
Okay, so now this is just one guy. One guy said this. It's just a quote from one man. But a lot of people have eliminated doubt that this guy existed in some form or fashion. Now, this is not saying that he was supernatural, born of a virgin, but there was a guy at that time named Jesus that ran into a bunch of Romans and got yeeted. Okay, that part is commonly accepted. Yeah, that part is commonly accepted. But as far as the fact that, you know, he's half man, half God, and that he, you know, died and rose again, that part disputable. But as far as that he existed, so when you say, so you said that part you believe. So when you're saying that part you believe, so is the part of it that you're doubting about Jesus being real the supernatural aspect or the entire thing?
Yeah, I'm talking about it. Okay, I could believe that somebody like that, somebody by that name could have existed at that time, right? Just like how Bree said, everybody had a white mic. Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Okay.
What I'm saying is this Jesus. Everybody know a Chris, but are we talking about Chris Brown? Are we talking about Chris Evans? At some point, we gotta get specific. Like, so to just say, because a lot of folks would be like, well, see, if there was that person, then it could have been no.
Well, then it's going to get hard. It's going to get hard. Like, let me tell you why it's going to be hard. The Romans killed lots of people. Yeah, the Romans killed lots of people. The Romans occupied lots of people. The Romans killed lots of Jews, and there was probably more than one. The name that we call Jesus, in their tongue, would, if everything was translated properly, transliterated, it's the name that we now use. You know, like passed through time and evolved. Joshua is the name that Jesus would be instead of Jesus. So there's lots of Joshuas, and so if you go to America, tons of Joshuas. And let's say if you go to any state, that's probably closer to Israel, like picking a state. If you go to Illinois, lots of Joshuas. Did one of them get picked up by the cops and died in custody? There might be more than one. You know what I'm saying? But now, was there more than one Joshua that died in police custody in Illinois in a 20-year span between 1980 and 2000? There still might be more than one, but it's, you know what I'm saying? You get fewer and fewer. Now, how many Joshuas died in police custody around 2,000 years ago? You know what I'm saying? You start in Jerusalem. You probably narrow the scope down. It might have been 12 tops, but more than likely there was this one dude. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to pin it down for sure because they're not about to pull a face tat. Like, nah, we got a sketch. We got a sketch of the death. Dude had a very distinct neck tattoo because he was in the gospel gang. They got GGs on his neck. So I don't know if we'll ever find the kind of proof you're looking for. But let's see what they go to.
That said, That's not to say there aren't many people out there who don't agree. For example, a 2015 poll in Britain surveying around 4,000 people found that a whopping 40% of them did not believe that Jesus ever existed. But going back to historians, Professor Emeritus of Jewish Studies and Archaeology at Duke University, Dr. Eric Myers, concludes with Dr. McCain chiming in, I don't know any mainstream scholar who doubts the historicity of Jesus. The details have been debated for centuries, but no one who is serious doubts that he's a historical figure. Those who deny the existence of Jesus are like the deniers of climate change.
That's funny. No, I don't deny climate change. I ain't that delulu. But I think that also kind of,
Let's go. That was me. I was muted. It wasn't you.
oh, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, that was me. I was out because I was talking after I paused that video.
You was cooking on mute.
Yeah.
I
at least
was
got all the vegetables chopped. Yeah, I got all the vegetables chopped and everything. But I was saying, like, this is the professor emeritus at Duke, which you would say that's a reputable institution of education.
Yeah.
So he's got merit, professor emeritus. He's obtained some rank in the professorial occupation, and like it's hard for anybody like the historically, even around that time, there were like I think it was Josephus and there was another guy that both recorded the Jesus character. So there was a notable Joshua, there was a notable Jesus that obtained some level of notoriety that he got recorded over 1,000 years ago, like thousands. I want to say Josephus might have been around the year 200 something. I can't remember. Let me look it up. Let me pull it up. When did Josephus?
Josephus. That's a hell of a name, boy.
Okay, not even 100 years after Jesus' death. AD 93. Multiple references of Jesus. AD 93. The Book of Antiquities of the Jews. So Flavius Josephus. So that was less than 100 years after his death. So they're close to the time, within 100 years of the time they were talking about this guy. So he still had renown 100 years after his death, obviously, because we're still doing it 2,000 years later. Historians believe there was a dude. Now, again, like I said, the details have been debated, which is, I think, what you're debating would be the supernatural elements. Because I don't think anybody would be able to prove that to you. I think it would take an angel of God to. Yeah,
okay.
Angel of God.
Okay. So here's where I think that becomes problematic.
Okay.
Because we're narrowing if we're narrowing it down to a person that existed back then cool, that I can rock with. Let's find a dude named Jesus who lived in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
They got crucified
Pretty sure we can find
Romans.
that. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
That got crucified by the Romans. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Subsequently, you're also telling me that he is that supernatural Jesus.
Yeah.
Right. But you're also telling, but wait, hold on. You're also telling me that that is the make or break. That's the make or break.
Yeah.
Right. That's the make or break element.
I get it. Yeah.
Right. But you're also telling me.
But it was the winning lottery ticket. Okay. Yeah, sure. The one you bought was the winning lottery ticket. You're telling me
the one you bought.
There's no proof.
Right.
Yeah, the one you bought. There's no proof. You ain't got a receipt. Nobody at the store remember you. I get you. They say, well, we saw him buy a ticket, but we don't have a record. Right. We can't say for sure whether it was a winning ticket. I get you. It sounds
right.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah. I get how it sounds.
Right.
I
So
get how saying
this is where
yeah.
Right. So this is where, cause I definitely had to go live, and this I had to let them know that they ain't, don't ever think because of nothing that I respond to and go live is personal. They know that. Y'all know that. Just need to make sure everybody else know that.
I
Y'all
prefer
had
it
some
if it
shit to
was
say in
personal.
Discord this morning. This,
I prefer if
nigga, it
was
is personal then, nigga, what, nigga?
Hey, you know what I'm
But
saying?
no, y'all definitely
Yeah,
had some
let's
shit
go.
to say. So you
Let's
know what
go.
I'm saying. I think you, what did you say? Something about, it's like something about asking for proof was like an oxymoron or something like that.
Asking for yes. Because why you're asking for proof? Because Bree was talking about what Bree said was that the argument against God being in that the world is getting worse, and I said that's oxymoronical because if you have read the Bible, it's talking about the world's going to continue to decline and decay until Jesus comes back. So it's supposed to, like, that's the plot. Like it's like if you're watching Star Wars and somebody's like, I don't believe that the Jedi exist because the Sith keep rising in power. You know, that would be the same, like that would be the correlation. Well, that's part of the plot. The Sith were supposed to rise in power so that the Jedi could bring balance to the Force. Like that's the whole point. The prophecy was the Jedi are going to come back and bring balance to the Force. So if you're mad that you don't like the movie because the Sith are uprising, you'd be like, well,
Right.
that's part of the plot. So the plot of the Bible is because of the original sin continues to abound until Jesus intercedes for humanity, and then ultimately at the end puts a stop to it.
Right.
That's what's oxymoron. Asking for there not to be a part of the plot where it gets worse on Earth. That's the part that is oxymoron. When that's the plot of the movie.
Right. But then you also are offering proof of said supernatural actions. You see what I'm saying? Like on the exact other end of that, you're offering those same scenarios as to why he is the Jesus of who he claims to be, why he is who y'all say he is. Because of those things. If he was just a nigga named Jesus, then I don't think he would. I don't know, because he'd have just been a regular believer who got yeeted for believing.
Yeah.
The kicker is that he rose after 3 days, performed all these miracles, showed that he was the proof of an existing God. Right. So see, we can't stop. You know the one thing I hate about an argument is when people only stop halfway through. Right. Hold on.
Let's go.
Got a little
You walking
spinner
by?
room. All right, we good. We back.
Okay.
Yeah, got a little spinner room. We back though.
Okay. Cool.
All right.
I thought
Yeah,
this was the moment when
that's all in this.
what's her face was walking by. That Friday, the movie Friday was in my head with Nia Long running by. He's like, hold on.
Do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, shit. If y'all, if I get the chance, y'all will see the Riz in action in real life.
Yeah, let's go.
Because I'm out here. But
all right.
No, it's like I said, I get that the kicker of this person being who y'all say is those things, but then you're also saying that you can't ask for proof of said thing. That's oxymoronic. There's a lot of language that deters all the questions required, because you're only supposed to ask some of the questions. Like even to the point to where in that documentary that I had watched, I watched the National Geographic one.
Gotcha.
He said, one of the dudes said when they were going to carbon date the fabric, he said the first question I asked is this morally right to even do?
Yeah. I mean that's a religious standpoint. That's a religious thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So from
right.
So we gotta say which perspective we're speaking from. from somebody that reveres God, trying to prove him, like testing him. So I don't believe there's a thought process there. It's kind of similar to like speaking back to your mother. Like, are you sure you know what you're talking about? Are you sure? Like, there's a questioning thing that people that have reverence, they want to step away from trying to question God because they don't feel like that's their place, because it's like a deep reverence. So some people, like even in the Jewish faith, they don't write the word God, even though that's not his name. It's a title. They won't put God. They'll put like G-D, like just out of deep reverence. So there's some cultures that where they just do not believe in like stepping on that. So from that lens, I understand that feeling, but I don't think that's biblical. Like as far as people like Christians, I don't think that's a biblical stance that you can't like kind of test God and try to find proof. I don't think there's grounds for that, because I think even God says like to test him. I think it's like tested, he'll prove and do what he says he'll do. So that's kind of a different, but I still believe, I think God does. God has room to be tested and questioned biblically, in my opinion. So, but to that part, but just speaking to that point you made, I just want to speak to that.
Right. I mean, that's why I'm here now.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of why I'm here now. Right. But I guess it starts a snowball effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because then I would think that he probably shouldn't be on this team of people to analyze this, because no, and I ain't saying it like that. Like I ain't trying to be malicious about it.
No, but even if you are, like,
I'm saying,
be however you need to be.
No, because I need to reiterate that, because sometimes people listen, and hopefully people listen back to this, but sometimes people hearing this feel like any pushback is always of like trying to be like, no, it's a bias that's going to be implicit in this process, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there needs to be a level of understanding things can be disproven through science, through trial and error as well, through research.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if he believes that this person exists, then there's going to be more emphasis on trying to prove that it is the thing, instead of not just proving that it isn't, but taking whatever results come without the, because it also led to one, right? It led to, because it going through the story more, like it led to one part of it being disproven, like the burn marks, right? The burn marks on the shroud. They kind of disproved that with carbon dating. They carbon dated it back to 1350, which just so happened to coincide with the appearance of the thing in the first place. Right? Which means like, hey, we have the shroud of Jesus. Yeah. But this is when the first time anybody's actually seeing it is the time that you presented as you saying what it is. Right? So it carbon dates back to then. So they're saying that, so they proved that. Then what happened is that, and I know this is how science works, but it's also a faith thing. Because then they come up with a story that, well, the shroud was in the hands of these group of priests, that each one of the priests had a key, like they were Captain Planet. I mean, like they were the Planeteers, and shit. And this is Captain Planet, so everybody got a ring. You know what I'm saying? And they were the only ones who could. They were the only ones who could open the things, right?
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't you know?
Well,
here comes the good old fire in the temple, right?
Okay.
So of course, the fire gets to the shroud, right? So fire starts burning the shroud. They can't, or burning around the shroud, right? So
a miracle.
they can't
a miracle.
get. Right. Because it didn't burn up, but it just burned around
Ah,
it. Right. It just burned at a certain level. Right.
absolutely.
But the temple is on fire.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Scorched.
now, mind you, they passed out 4 keys.
Mm-hmm.
Just so happened that the time when it needs to be the reason why we passed out the keys, because we need everybody to be able to access the keys. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
the keys were inaccessible. Couldn't
Oh,
access the
okay.
keys. So couldn't get to the keys. All right, cool. Couldn't get to the keys. So now we trying to get it open. We're trying to bend it open. Can't bend it open. So now we call a blacksmith. Blacksmith come in and he finally gets through the gate. Right? Finally gets through the
Okay.
gate. They get to the shroud, and the shroud is still intact, except for scorches and holes and marks and burns and
Ah,
stuff. Right? This
crazy.
is just surface stuff.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes. Miracle.
Here's the trick for me.
Yeah. Let's
A lot of these burns is like uniform on both sides.
go.
Like when you see it,
Oh,
like some of the burns is like uniform. Like at the bottom, like they kind of uniform on both sides.
well, because it was folded.
So,
like when you fold a piece of paper several times and then you cut like a thing and it makes a little pattern, but it's uniform. It was folded.
like
That's all.
origami. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
It was
Cool.
folded.
I'll give you that.
Let's go.
But
Let's
it
go.
just happened to be so perfectly folded that this happened, where the burns are so uniformly burned that it didn't burn his face, didn't burn the imprint of his face. It didn't burn the imprint of his hands. It didn't burn the imprint of his feet.
No.
It didn't
The way it
burn
was
the print
folded.
of his print either. Oh man, see.
It was folded a certain way.
So
It was folded.
what? So besides the burn marks, right? Because burn marks are something, like you said, it could have been how it was folded, anything, right? But
priestly fold.
Skeptical is skeptical is skeptical. Yeah,
Absolutely.
skeptical is skeptical. You can't. Yeah, it's terribly inconvenient that this is how this thing got burned. But they're saying that caused a change in the carbon molecular structure of said shroud, which could change the carbon dating to where it could be at least 1,000 to 1,500 years older than it is, which would put it at the time of the fucking person that we're talking about. Right?
There you go. Absolutely.
So, you're right. With process restored, right? We're back on track, right?
Back on timeline.
We're back on track, right? 2 hours, 2 hours later, proving that shit don't even make sense. It ends up proving that don't even make sense. That's not how carbon dating works. That's not how carbon transfer works. That's not how things act when heat touches it. None of that.
Listen, man. God works in mysterious ways.
I mean, yeah, he turned these beans in water and evaporated powdered milk into coffee. I understand that.
There you go. There you go. You know what I'm saying? But I hear you. Trust me. I'm with you. I get it. There's a lot of substance to it. I believe in things. A lot of things got manufactured because a lot of people do want to corroborate their faith. The shroud might be one of them. I can't say. Christians would love to have more physical evidence because people are skeptics. But it's also a faith practice. That's what Jesus did ask for in the New Testament, was to be believed, not to be observed. So, I mean, that's also a second component of it. Being a skeptic is one thing, because even he had a disciple, Thomas. They called him Doubting Thomas as a moniker, but he had to put his hands in the holes that Jesus got nailed through. He had to finger Jesus to make sure that it was real. So that's one of his disciples, somebody that could actually lay hands on his resurrected form to see is this real. So, I mean, your skepticism, there's room for skepticism within this. So I'm with you. There's room for skepticism. Some of the stuff is absolutely suspect. The Shroud is one of those things that people have debated. But skeptics will be skeptical of anything, and the believers will believe what they want to believe. So it's like it's one of them impasse things. I don't know that anything would ever be adequate for what we're talking about, because the supernatural element will never be believed unless you saw it happen yourself. And even like you brought up the DNA. You brought up the DNA yesterday. If God did a supernatural thing to the DNA, the only DNA present should be Mary's, wouldn't make sense, because if God can create somebody with only the woman's DNA and make it a male, then her DNA wouldn't be what you found. You would probably still find half Mary and then half male, but we wouldn't understand. It probably would be something that wouldn't make sense. And it was a male DNA, so it must be Joseph. You know what I'm saying? But we don't have Joseph's DNA to compare it to. There would always be some level of remnant of skepticism, unless that DNA glowed. You know, the Y chromosome glowed or something, like, oh, that's supernatural. Nobody else's chromosome glows. That must be godly. It would be hard for us to actually believe that there was some kind of supernatural element. We would just say, oh, that must be Joseph DNA. I can't imagine what it would take. Yeah, that's what it would take. Mm-hmm. You'd have to. His blood would have to like move, like you put like a drop of find a drop of blood on something, but it moves, like it wibbles or something, or his blood platelets are like in a cross shape instead of round, like, you know what I'm saying? Like it'd be something crazy.
Like it light up when you get a diamond on Diamond Dynasty or something like that, or when oh shit, hold on, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I had a little spinning. Yeah, it's like it's like when you get something cool in the loot box and it's just glowing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's like a gold weapon,
and that'd be the only way people would make it make sense. That's the only way the supernatural element would feel like verified.
So this is where I would stand out in particular for me. What would be proof for me? Prove to me it's Mary's Jesus. Link her DNA to it.
Okay. So find some of her other kids. Find the through line, because I believe it's been reported that they followed that bloodline through to France or something at some point. But
I'm not above believing that she had siblings. Jesus wasn't the only guy. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I mean, right.
Mary,
right.
Maternal,
that's what I mean.
Siblings.
Yeah. Right, that's what I mean. Yeah, right. Like birth siblings and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because if I'm what's his name, Joseph?
Yeah.
If I'm Joseph, I'm like, okay, well, look, you having God, babe, but you having like at least 7 of mine. like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta. I need to win at something. So, you know what I'm saying? At least 1 or 2 of them, like you said, they have a confirmed, like not confirmed, but like semi-confirmed bloodline trace, right? So cool. Find whoever is the oldest confirmed person, even if it's a shot. Like, okay, test that DNA, because we in 2024. I got damn it. DNA testing is, if we watch that shit, they can pull from the people halfway down the line. So that would be enough. It don't have to be prove it don't have to be prove the glowing DNA. That's not what I'm asking. You know what I'm saying? That's where I get you. Like, well, nigga, if he cured the blind man, do that. Well, yeah, we can. They got technology now that can, you know what I'm saying, that can restore people's sight. So we can do that. That thing can be done. You know what I'm saying? Save this man from cancer. We got technology. We can do that.
Yeah.
So that's not, with that instance is not out of the realms of possibility. We've mimicked that.
Right. Yeah.
In a way, in a certain way or two.
I'll get you. And raising the dead too. There's lots of people that have been brought back after that.
That have been brought
Yeah. So from what we classify as death. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot of that I know you kind of gotta, all right, this could be watched, right? But I think it's all a part of the same kind of package though. Cause I see the way that a lot of black folks hang everything they do on G's. Boy, y'all, they'll be trauma dumping, boy. Trauma dumping on Polar G. He didn't already die. Imagine. I'm God's son. I was sent here in physical form to come hang out with y'all for a couple years, make everything a little better. I die for y'all. And then when I ascend to the higher position, y'all niggas still want to bother me. Y'all still want to heap all y'all sins on me. I died for y'all sins. Now I gotta suffer through y'all sins too.
I mean, that was a job.
Come on, man. That boots. We need that bootsy clip. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Can y'all hear Peppa Pig in the back?
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, good shit.
Is it like super loud?
I mean, I can't hear anything else really.
All you hear is Peppa
It's
Pig?
there, but
Wow.
That's all. That's all I hear.
Yep. Say what? Can't hear you. What? Nah, you good? Peppa Pig, good. Shit. Shout out to the youngins. Shout out to the nieces. Shout out to everybody chilling right now. All the parents and parents of parents and
Jesus love little children.
You know, we at that point. We at the point where we parenting our parents.
Is it a little bit better?
It was fine then. I was messing. I was being ignorant.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. Yeah,
and I can't see your face, so I'm not looking at your face.
I can't see what you see. I thought you knew not to take me seriously. You never take me seriously.
No, I was, because it was loud as hell. That's why I asked. So I was like, I mean, they might be able to hear. That's why I asked. I'm like, Peppa Pig right here blasting.
Yeah.
So I took y'all serious.
He said.
Yeah, I wanted to be able to like hear and like respond if necessary, but I can't type. So
got you.
Somebody was super late with their live, so you know they waited until it was time to go pick the kiddo up from school to go live about.
You know what?
And I thought we had the whole thing with Ocho about punctuality and professionalism. I thought Ocho
it's very unprofessional.
Man, look,
I can't take you where you saying you want to go with this unprofessionalism. Okay,
look,
and I'm not gonna drag you because I'm not big like Shane Sharp.
Look. Once Unc and his Michelle went live on IG, all that shit is went live. That's it. It's over.
I thought it was very professional. Okay? Professionalism in that, but I've been listening to the conversation. I didn't miss the last 10 minutes.
Am I the only one digitizing, or is that Brie?
Okay, I was trying to make sure it ain't me because I'm over here on.
Just assume it's me.
Yeah,
it's just me. Cool. It's just assume it's me. Just ignore me. Yeah. If I disappear, just tell me you ain't here.
We're all in
Bree turning into.
Gotcha.
Bree turning into a Digimon.
There's like this one little dead zone I just drove through, so I'm assuming it was that. But,
let's go. Yeah, the last 10 minutes, it was just, what did we cover? Dang.
Okay, the last thing he was saying that he didn't care for the guys saying that maybe they shouldn't do it and he shouldn't be a part of it. Okay. Pretty much the time when I commented last, I went in to get my daughter out of school. So. But it's okay. You don't have to run it back. I was just
gotcha. Cool. Gotcha. All right. We don't have to run it back. We won't tell her the important parts where you said you believe in profess Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior. We don't have to talk about that.
No, and then I came back when y'all was talking about if they could prove Mary or whatever, because I know he has to.
Yeah, the DNA.
That's kind of
genetic ancestry. Yeah.
Right.
Ancestry.com. Yep. Okay. Cool. All right. Now, this was spawned by us in Discord. So, what did you have a problem with? Because, do you understand why I said at least that one piece was, in the context of that argument, Yellow, if you can hear me, if you're saying you don't believe in God, one reason, this is the only thing I'm talking about. One of the reasons that you don't believe in God is because the world gets worse. but the Bible says the world is going to get worse because of sin and Satan. Wouldn't you say that's a contradictory argument? Like that's the reason? Oh, he's gone. Yeah. Well.
Oh, okay.
I'm
sure he'll be in the chat talking about bring me up in like 2 minutes. But okay, yeah. And then I think you said asking for evidence of the supernatural, I think was the other thing. That was the one where you said it was oxymoronic. Because
the part that's oxymoronical is asking for proof. I mean, it's saying, forgive me.
Yeah.
The part that's oxymoronical is saying, I don't believe because the world is getting worse. Like that's oxymoronical because the world's supposed to get worse biblically. Like that's like you said. The world's supposed to get worse.
But I thought at one point you did say something about the element of the supernatural.
Yeah, that part's not that's not oxymoronical.
I mean, that's well, it would be to ask for evidence because like supernatural is above the natural, and most evidence is going to be observable, objective.
Okay,
it can be observed.
The faith part. Natural. Okay,
so that's
a faith practice. Asking for evidence of a faith practice. I might have said that's yeah.
Because
but I know that's a problematic thing to do.
Definition wise, it is like that would be because it would it's almost impossible because that's what makes it supernatural is that it can't be observed by in the natural. You know, it generally with all supernatural phenomena, I would say it's always witness testimony. Like it's always a witness or a testimony that you use. I mean, even if you think about stuff like near-death experiences, ghosts, anything supernatural. Like really, you just have to choose to leave the testimony of a person. I'll be back. Okay.
Yeah, he trying. His cam ain't back yet.
Yeah, I heard
he's back.
I heard the little ding. So that's why I feel like it would be hard to give evidence because I think when you're dealing with anything with a supernatural element, it just at some point you're gonna have to believe a witness or somebody's testimony of it.
Yeah, I'm with that. Yeah, because you're not gonna. It's gonna be hard to find hard evidence. It's gonna be unless you're on premises and you have your own testimony. It's gonna be hard to find evidence. But even the stuff we've said that have been miracles over the centuries, I don't think anybody like figured out why it happened. Like the crying statues and stuff. I can't remember what that's called.
Yeah, you still gotta pretty much believe somebody somewhere who said that they saw it, and like. That's why I say even if you take out of the God element, somebody who had a near-death experience, you would have to just basically believe that person had the experience they're telling you they had. I mean, there would never be any evidence beyond it. Or even the ghost hunters, they got instruments, they say that this and measure that. But it's still an element of faith. Do you believe that? Do you believe the instruments aren't rigged? Do you believe that there's not another way to explain it? I mean, I just feel like anytime you're dealing with something like this, there's just an element of you're gonna have to just choose to believe, or not.
I mean, because not being fun, this ain't even being facetious. This is what I came to over time because I was one of those people that put faith in science, but it's like I was putting faith in science because I can't carbon date anything, and even if somebody told me the path to carbon date, like how to do it, what equipment, and I did all of that. And I read and learned the process and I tried it, I would have to trust that I was getting the result that somebody told me I was supposed to get. So if I get the number that they said, how do I know that I'm actually carbon dating to the date, but I'm not just it's the same way if somebody taught me how to cook a thing and I cooked the thing how they said it, I followed the instructions, but I have to trust that that's actually the thing that I cooked. They might have said it was a scone, but it was actually a muffin. You know what I'm saying? Because they misidentified what they were doing. And science is good for that. They discover something, but they don't discover what they thought they discovered. Like we thought this was this, and we went with that. We ran with that for like 100 years. This was actually this. That's happened with gravity. That's happened with the rotation of the planets and the sun. We were certain that it was this, and then we discovered later with more information or a better perspective that it was actually this other way. And they were able to overlap for so long because the orientation allowed us to be diluted in a way. We didn't see clearly, but as much as we saw, we believed, and we took it as knowledge. But we were wrong. And the same thing can happen with stuff like carbon dating. How do we know what we're doing? How do we know for sure? How would I know as a layperson other than faith? because I can't carbon date. So whoever says they carbon dated it back to Jesus' time or back to the 1300s, I've just got to believe whatever they said. I have no way to verify it. So I always arrive at faith. At some level, I end up at faith.
Yeah, I mean, even more so when you talk about things like quantum mechanics.
Yeah, for sure.
Or things like the universe or space. I mean, I think the main thing that you can offer is different is natural science. You know, the natural sciences, rocks and shit. Like, that's all the natural sciences, biology. That's provable. I think they can be accepted as fact.
I can verify a rock is hard.
Right, you can human body. There's humans available. I mean, all of the things you can study that exist on Earth, I feel like are in that space of we can establish truth. But I mean, most of the stuff we talk about space, I mean, that was the whole flat Earth thing. Like, do we really know? That's just a bunch of people that decided not to have faith in science that they couldn't prove anymore. I mean, really, like I'm not a flat earther, but I mean, at the end of the day, there's just a bunch of people saying, well, I have to believe all these people that I can't talk to. I have to believe evidence I can't collect myself. I can't go observe this thing. And I'm choosing not to have faith in that anymore. So, I mean, really, the whole flat earth movement was basically a bunch of people realizing that a lot of science that we believe in comes back down to faith. And they chose to not have faith in that thing anymore.
Yeah. I'm with that.
So I don't think, to me, it just feels like, I mean, I understand people who just find it hard to have faith in that, especially a person. You talk about humans having like, oh, I've been dealing with humans my whole life, and you want me to have faith in a person that they were everything they said they were. I mean, I totally can understand that perspective. Like, I get it. I just know that there's also like nothing I can really offer to, like, you know what I mean, to really convince, depending on how far across you are. I'm definitely not gonna try to use the Bible to prove it. I mean, that's I mean, because to me that's just like, hey, that's oxymoronic. Like, somebody saying they don't believe in the Bible, I'm the Bible to prove the Bible. Like, it's goofy. It's just not,
I'm with you. Oh, yeah, let's go on again. See? Man, backslide. He backslid right back out the stream.
Is he gone?
He gone. If he would turn his connection over to the Lord, he could be kept in perfect peace.
But you can hear me, right?
Yeah. You sound fine.
Okay. I was gonna ask him as soon as I tried to ask him about Discord, he dropped off.
Yeah. Poor fella.
The Lord does not want him to get his side out about this Discord discussion.
Yeah.
The second time.
Man.
But so I need to watch this documentary again. It's been a long time since I saw it.
Yeah, I had sent him two of them. I sent him the History Channel one and one from the BBC. I can't remember which one he said he had started. While we're waiting on Yellow to get back, I'm just let's see what these people say.
End quote. Holdouts to the idea that Jesus existed like to point out, however, that we don't have any hard archaeological evidence or writings from Jesus himself, or even surviving contemporary writings from when he supposedly lived corroborating his existence. This is correct. However, if that's the rubric being used to tell if some historic figure actually existed or not, we'd pretty much have to assert that almost nobody in history ever existed, including some extremely prominent figures. Absolutely no one, including many of these holdouts' questions, lived. As atheist New Testament scholar Dr. Bart notes, the reality is that we don't have archaeological records.
Man, shout out to Mr. He Said here at Shroud Media Group for the Cash App, man. Definitely appreciate the love.
For virtually anyone who lived in Jesus' time and place. Pertinent to the topic at hand.
That's true. We don't have a lot of evidence for a lot of people. We know there was a planet full of people, not as many as there are now, but
right,
like a whole bunch of people would just not exist because we don't have any evidence that they existed. We probably would have
archaeological
evidence for like 15 people. worldwide from that
That's
time.
what I was saying. Like, to me, unless you were like a very that to me that's important to note, that there is documentation of a person named Jesus, because you got to think it's a lot of people throughout history that know. That's what I was saying yesterday. You wouldn't know a lot of people existing unless somebody somewhere who knew them said they existed.
Yeah, yeah.
Most people go down in history not remembered besides a headstone.
True. If they get that.
If they get that.
Yeah.
So so just to see somebody from this long ago documented is already like should put up a flag that probably wasn't a person of importance for some reason.
Yeah. Something notable happened. I'm with that. I do agree. There's, I got my caveats, but I definitely agree with that. But it's interesting. I didn't even think about that. The archaeological evidence of even other notable figures, we don't have that much from that time. And as far as writing was not a common practice 2,000 years ago.
No,
like the common person, common person didn't write. So you're even like the way we be talking about women be looking for the top 10% of men. We're talking about the top 10% of people probably were able to keep records.
Right. And that's what I was saying about, like, even with the DNA, like preserving DNA is not easy.
Yeah, you're right.
And it takes a lot of effort, and even still you can get it wrong. You saw, like, with some, like King Tut, even with the best attempts to preserve him the way they were for the sarcophagus, they messed up and lost a lot of DNA. It's really hard to actually preserve DNA if you aren't intentionally trying to do it.
Yeah, that's true. And that's not what they were trying to do at all. Well,
until extremely recently in history.
Dang, come on, Yella. Just repent of your sins so you can get back in the stream, bro.
Restart, turn it. There was not Rock said, turn it off, turn it back on. When you said in skyscraper, did you turn it off and turn it back on?
Man, walk around to the other side of the house.
Much of any contemporary evidence. What?
You know what he said? He didn't charge his Bluetooth. I bet his phone wasn't even charged. Mr. being outside, you better find some electricity.
We outside chasing tail.
Whatsoever that Pontius Pilate existed, the Roman governor of Judea, most remember today for having Jesus crucified. That all changed in 1961 when a quite literal hard piece of evidence was found. At the site of Caesarea Maritima, archaeologists discovered a stone totally and in all ways coincidentally called the Pilate Stone, dating back to the time Pilate and Jesus were doing their respective dances. For reference, Pilate was the prefect of Judea from 26 to 36 AD and may or may not have been a great dancer. While it is a damaged block without the complete text surviving on it, it definitely mentions Pilate being the prefect of Judea, with it generally thought filling in the missing parts. It states, "To divine Augusti Tiberium, Pontius Pilate, prefect of Judea, has dedicated this." Also, I'm a kick-ass dancer. As to what that's referencing, it would appear that he took dance classes as a kid as part of his...
See, now that's a bad time to insert a joke when you're trying to verify stuff. Like that's a really bad time.
Right. I'm like,
Yeah, that's stupid. Yeah. Cause see that I can't stand what people do. Like the need, I hate the Marvelification of everything where everybody has to put a joke in everything. Like everything doesn't need a joke, especially when you're trying to establish veracity. You're trying to establish that you are credible. Like that's terrible time.
Right, you're an authority in historical documentation.
Yeah.
You add an extra stuff to quotes that wasn't there, and then not even saying that it's a joke.
Jesus Christ.
Formal education, or something like that. On the rest of the stone was dedicating some sort of temple or other significant building. But before this and some surviving coins, the evidence of Pilate piloting was arguably less than the evidence for Jesusing. And important to again explicitly point out here, Pilate was quite literally one of the most important people in all of Jerusalem at the time and an extremely prominent Roman figure, while Jesus was just a random peasant Jew. Going back to Dr. Bart Ehrman, he sums up, with respect to Jesus, we have numerous independent accounts of his life in the sources lying behind the Gospels and the writings of Paul, some that originate in Jesus' native tongue, Aramaic, and that can be dated to within just a year or two of his life before the religion moved to convert pagans in droves. Historical sources like that are pretty astounding for an ancient figure of any kind. So, Putting aside holding the question of Jesus' existence to a higher standard than anyone else in history, what about when we apply the standards historians do generally ascribe to? What's the actual evidence there? While there is other more secular evidence that we'll get to in a bit, so stay tuned as there are some relative smoking guns here, the most obvious answer is, of course, the writings in the New Testament itself. Now, on the surface, you may discount this as using the Bible to prove the Bible seems existed. For starters, enter an individual generally considered the greatest of all Roman historians, Senator Publius Cornelius Tacitus, who was born a couple of decades after Jesus' death. Tacitus not only gives a direct...
Just always had an us at the end. You can just have a Roman name and you just something us at the end. Romulus, Ramus, Jamulus.
That name didn't stand up over time. No, Publius. I wouldn't want to be a Pub.
Publius. Augustus, Janus is like in how to have a Roman name, us at the end.
I wonder what the us was, like with that Latin flair. I wonder what the us was. Or the eus. That must mean something for it to be like Claudius, Romulus.
Yeah, it's got to be related to like God or some way. That is also probably a masculine ending. I don't think the women had those names.
Yeah, probably not.
It was a masculine
reference to the particular Jesus in question, but interestingly, he also states that Jesus was crucified by Pilate. In his Annals, 115 AD, in chapter 44 of book 15, he discusses Christians being targeted as a scapegoat by Nero, stating, Nero fastened the guilt and inflicted the most exquisite tortures on a class hated for their abominations called Christians by the populace. Christus, for whom the name has its origin, suffered the extreme penalty during the reign of Tiberius at the hands of one of our protectors, Pontius Pilate, and a most mischievous superstition, thus checked for the moment, again broke out not only in Judea, the first source of the evil, but even in Rome, where all things hideous and shameful from every part of the world find their center and become popular.
Inflamar infidelis. If Jesus wasn't real, I'd be dead or in jail for murder. Real time. Hey, appreciate you for popping in. Hey, Jesus works for a lot of folks.
And also, I would say, even if Jesus wasn't who he said he was, whoever this Jesus person was, definitely got all these people turned up right after he died. I mean, that's provable.
Yeah, and it would take some time for a name to get around in that day and age. They didn't have the internet, phones.
Right, that name got around, and not only that, the people was losing their shit to the point where the rulers at the time had to figure out what to do about it and actively try to suppress them.
Yeah, that's weird. So I mean, I try to lend credibility where it makes sense, and some of the lateness and delay for his name to spread, it makes sense because it started with a handful of people and it was a grassroots movement. So for it to get out of the region of Judea, it makes sense for it to take a while to get to Romans and his people to but develop some renown outside of the area.
Right, it's like something had to happen that convinced people outside of this area in a time where people weren't global citizens like we are now, that this was important enough that they should go against everything that their culture was. I mean, that's something. That's substantial. That's substantial. Maybe not now. You can just get a good TikTok.
Oh my God.
But back then, it took effort to do all that.
Yeah. He went viral before it was a thing.
Accordingly, an arrest was made of all who pleaded guilty. Then, upon their information, an immense multitude was convicted, not so much of the crime of firing the city as of hatred.
So while Yella is trying to charge his phone, you had asked a question in the Discord. I thought that was kind of dope. In the day and age that we have, because things don't mean the same thing to me now. Like you said, something spreading quickly or around the globe doesn't mean it's not as substantial as it once was. Like Demir is now gone from an obscure word to a common word in the matter of a few weeks. So virality and the transmissibility of thought, totally different scope and scale now. So what you said in a postmodern world, what is God these days? I know you were thinking about that. What do you feel is God these days? What is God? How does he, when Yellow was talking about health care and like the healing, healthcare, and like the raising of the dead, as far as what we classify as dead, because we don't know what their standards for what is dead. We don't know if they were checking for pulses. We see the word dead in their text and assume that it was the same dead as ours, but we don't know, because people would pop back sometimes. They got resurrected sometimes. We don't know what the process was. We're just assuming things and believing what we read. So what is God now when we're doing a lot of things that they couldn't do? Like, what is God now? Because God was once lightning. God was once, the lightning cracks is God. Now we just see it as lightning. We see it as a phenomenon of weather. Like, so what is God now? Von Eric in the building. What's up, Von Eric? How you feeling, bro? I can't hear nothing you saying, bro. Maybe you're going through something. I see you have mute, so I'm gonna let this play while Yella's gone. Don't know what happened to him. He ain't been back. Breeze on mute, so I'm gonna let this play.
Against mankind. Mockery of every sort was added to their deaths. Covered with the skins of beasts, they were torn by dogs and perished, or were nailed to crosses, or were doomed to the flames and burnt to serve as a nightly illumination when daylight had expired. Nero offered his gardens for the spectacle and was exhibiting a show in the circus where he mingled with the people in the dress of a charioteer or stood aloft on a car. Hence, even for criminals who deserved extreme and exemplary punishment, there arose a feeling of compassion, for it was not, as it seemed, for the public good, but to glut one man's cruelty that they were being destroyed. End quote. Now, it should be noted here that some...
I don't know who that was attributed to, because they don't put the name at the bottom of their quotes for whatever reason. And I've got to believe that thing about the kick-ass dancer was an add-on. But of course, I don't like jokes when you're trying to establish credibility. But I would have liked for them to put the names of the people they were talking about, because there's a saying that Nero was setting people on fire nightly. That's crazy. Like having people bonfires. That's wild.
Question if perhaps Tacitus was simply repeating something the Christians.
But unfortunately, that one joke, all they did was slip in that one joke. Now I can't trust nothing they say. Credibility, boy. You gotta protect your credibility. Protect your credibility, people. A bad time joke. All right, let's go.
With no backing source elsewise. After all, it had been at this point many decades since Jesus was apparently executed. However, this notion is generally dismissed given Tacitus's preeminence as a historian and track record of having evidence to back what he said so definitively in his works, even if in many cases such evidence is lost to us today. It's also noted that Tacitus's position as a senator gave him access to many official records, and perhaps most significantly of all, he was part of the Quindecimviri Sacris Fundanus, which, among other things, oversaw various foreign religious cults at the time in Rome. This suggests that Tacitus would have likely been extremely familiar with and had access to any records of Christianity that existed at that point. Thus, while the skepticism here isn't necessarily completely unwarranted, in combination with Tacitus's reputation and the other evidence at hand and how it all correlates, most historians accept this as a valid early independent source of Jesus' existence. And speaking of other evidence to add to the pile, we have a rather more ironclad reference in the writings of another of the most famous historians of the period, Flavius Josephus, a man born in Jerusalem almost to the year when Jesus is thought to have been crucified. Now, for those who haven't watched our video on the quite literal deadliest fart in history that resulted in the deaths of 10,000 people that Josephus documents thoroughly, a brief background is in order, as it's important as to why Josephus's taking for granted that Jesus existed is thought to be so significant. As Dr. Robert Van Voort notes, if any Jewish writer were ever in a position to know about the non-existence of Jesus, it would have been Josephus. His implicit affirmation of the existence of Jesus has been, and still is, the most significant obstacle for those who argue that the extra biblical evidence is not probative on that point. Born in 37 AD to an extreme...
But why? It's like, okay, another problem I have with this video, other than that joke that they stuck in, is they don't back their claims up. Even they'll throw a claim up there and not back it up. So why? It's a claim. If any Jewish writer were ever in the position to know about the non-existence of Jesus, it would have been Josephus. Why? His implicit affirmation of the existence of Jesus has been and still is the most significant obstacle for those who argue that the evidence is not probative. Why? Why? Validate your claims.
The extra biblical evidence is not probative on that point. Born in 37 AD to an extremely prominent and wealthy family in Jerusalem, Josephus' mother was a descendant of the Hasmonean dynasty, former rulers of the region, and his father was a Jewish priest. Josephus spent his formative years on the Jewish side of the Jewish-Roman conflict, ultimately the head of the Jewish forces in Galilee. However, in 67 AD, after a 6-week siege of Yodfat, Josephus' siding with the Jews came to an abrupt end. Well, exactly what happened is up for debate given Josephus' own account.
See, this is why I say you need to immediately validate the claim, because you go into all this stuff with all these names, and I'm going to forget what the original point was. So there's too much coming at one time. I don't remember any of those names already.
Is primarily what we have to work with. On the 47th day, the Romans took the town, and Josephus himself and a few dozen others took refuge in some caves. Rather than be captured, they decided it was better to die, but owing to suicide being a sin, they drew lots to see who should kill and commenced with the mutual slaughter.
Wow, now that's tough. That's tough. Suicide is a sin, so somebody had to stay behind. So it was like a murder-suicide. And the person that commits suicide knows they're sinning, or they got to stay and just suffer. That's tough. Dang, people, boy. I'm thankful for where I live and when I live, boy. I tell you, I would not want to face these hard choices. Jesus Christ.
The final survivors came down to Josephus and one other man who decided rather than kill one another, perhaps it would be better to surrender after all.
And they just surrendered. Oh, man. Mm-hmm.
Upon doing so, Josephus ingratiated himself to the head of the Roman forces, Vespasian, by prophesying that Vespasian would become emperor of Rome. And so it was that rather than kill Josephus, Vespasian decided to take him as a slave. 2 years later, Josephus was freed when Vespasian became emperor, and he was granted Roman citizenship and more or less completely cast his lot in on the Roman side of things, including serving as an advisor and translator to Vespasian's son Titus during the 70 AD siege of Jerusalem. Of course, Josephus isn't really remembered today for any of these exploits, but rather for such things as his highly influential work.
Well, shoot, y'all have been gone a little minute. I'm thinking, because I got that stream at 4 o'clock in about an hour and 15 minutes. And Bree, she went mute. So I'm thinking, if Yella don't even pop up in the chat, I'm going to go ahead and end this and chill till it's time for my stream. So Yella must not be able to hear us because I ain't seen him in the chat. What y'all think? Is anybody with me? God, send me a sign. Well, it's just me. It's just me, Oos. So I'm going to do just that. I'm going to be back at 4 for the conversation I already got scheduled. I can't even remember what it is because I had scheduled something for the entire week. But this was my spiritual Christianese, Black Christianese week. So I'll be back at 4 p.m. Eastern time with the conversation. Can you be Christian and pro-choice? Because I have some videos to react to. So that's Christian and pro-choice is today. That's at 4 p.m. Eastern. So if anybody wants to come back for that, Critically Drinking on YouTube, come on in. More than welcome. I'll drop the link and pin it. No more than 6 people on the panel, but open to the conversation. I am going to go ahead and end this. Haven't seen Yella, haven't heard. I feel like it's been 20 minutes. My time perception is off, but I feel like it's been 20 minutes. His phone must have died. All right. And nobody said anything in the chat. Bree ain't said nothing. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Bye.